Hello everyone, this is Gatsby. In today's video, I'm going to show you one of my drawing process. I like to do a lot of pencil portrait drawing, and I want to share with you my step-by-step and some tips that I want to share with you. Something that I learned in the past is very useful for me. If you're into learning art, if you're a beginner, or if you're just generally interested in how people draw, please consider to subscribe my video channel, and also put the likes button below, and or any questions, please leave a comment on below. Let's start it. Okay, when we start the portrait, I'm going to show you the reference that I use on the site. You want to estimate how much of this face you want to be putting on the paper. For example, sometimes what does that mean that sometimes when we start a drawing and you start from the as a head, from the head, and then you draw more, you draw, and you realize the head you're beginning with it's too big, and you do want to have the arm and the chest in your work, but it's already too big. You're starting from the head is too big, so then you kind of shrink everything down to just be able to fit in your work on your paper, which is not a good idea. So because they will make distortion and a weird proportion. So to do so, you want to decide how much of this feature you want to be, you want to work with to draw on the paper. So I think I'm going to estimate a size, and then you kind of, once you decide it, and then you kind of mirror the area that you want on the paper that you work on. So for if you are people who draw, artists that you draw very frequently, these things you're in your brain, but I'm going to show you one tips that you can use to starting your video. Sorry, I'm saying video. Starting with your drawing, and then to begin with, which is you do a very rough sketch. So today I'm using this Koh-I-Noor SketchUp pencil that I got, brass pencil that I got recently, and I like the building quality. It's very beautiful. To show you the drawing. So you're beginning with the drawing the port, like really rough area of the drawing. At this stage, you don't need to worry about or considering about the accuracy. You do want to measure that. The one way you can do is straight up your arm, and then use your pencil as a measurement, as a ruler, and then you can start measure that how this much from the top of the head to the chin, and how much compare this height from your pencil from this point from bottom of the chin to the chest. So when you do have that measurement, then you can if this is from the top of the hair and then chin, then this part will be the chest. So I'm going to I'm going to focus on the face today. So I'm going to make the head slightly bigger. You can see at this stage I not really careful about how I begin with. You just want to know roughly how much of this reference photo that you want to draw on the paper. And once you have the head, and then you kind of estimate the neck and the shoulder. And I do like the hands in this reference photo, so I'm gonna including that as well. Because I think that hand is pretty beautiful contrast with this black and white composition. So I'm gonna really rough to have the. So I put the really rough first initial sketch on the paper, so I can start working on this. So you can break down the area that you want to work on. So, for example, if you circled here, this is the face area, so you know exactly this is the face area you can work on. So you don't need to move up and down. So once you make sure this is a foundation, your base foundation, your drawing base, then you don't change it like your proportion too much, because it's hard. It's not Photoshop. When you draw on paper, you cannot cut and paste easily. So let's start it from the face. So when you're starting from the face, you can see this picture, he's like 3/4 view. So the easy way to start is you draw a sphere, a ball, then you usually man's eyes, a human's eyes in the center of the ball. So you're gonna do this, and since this is 3/4, so I'm gonna draw a line here. So this will be a roughly you want to make sure your chin, the angle on the tilt of the head is pretty similar. So once you have this, you can starting from the eye, which is the most beautiful part of the human face. In my opinion, I really into drawing people's eyes. You can almost feel there's a soul into it, and then I really love to join this part. So let's starting with the fun part. So starting from the eye, then usually, so if you let's on the side here, I'm not sure if you can see this on the here. I'm gonna draw a front facing face. So if you draw a face, usually there's a 5 eyes from the left side of the ear to the right side of the ear. So if this is eye, then there will be a center, in your nose, where your nose begins. If you have a unibrow, there will be the connecting together, and then on the left side you have another pair of eye on the left and right, which extend that to your either cheekbone or ear area. Sorry, not cheekbone, it's I would say more like ear. So some people could be a little bit wider, a little bit narrower. Your eyeball could be a little bit closer to each other. Some people's eye can be a little bit separate. So really depends on your subject. But in general, this is the rule of thumb. So if you follow this rule, proportion, it's not going to be too off. Of course, a different region, different people, they have a different feature, so you want to pay attention on those too. So, but let's just starting following this rule. So since this is 3/4 view, so the eye will be right here, and you can see he has a really big eye, in my opinion, really beautiful and big eyeball. So I think it's about the eye size he had. So from here to here, and I'm gonna draw another line right here. So this is, if you chop this area out, there will be a front of your face. Since you tilted, it's kind of a box right here. So you will have distance, and then and you connect the corner of the eye, and then to here, follow the perspective, and then you split half. This will be the ear area. But since in this reference photo you don't really see his ear, so I'm gonna just put a circle right here. Alright, let's start it with the eye. And once you have eye, it's really easy to find eyebrow, where the eyebrow is. Um, depending on the feature, you can have a really high eyebrow or low eyebrow. In this reference, I'm just gonna use this feature to draw, which is, I find the brow bone right here. So since I have an eye, then I can have the eyebrow right here. Just very roughly to have a kind of just under drawing. So you don't want to, in this stage, you don't want to draw your base drawing too hard, too strong, because that will be difficult to remove by your eraser, and it will kind of flatten out the paper's textures. So you get the idea. So you just, in this stage, you want to be really roughly, very light. And then the nose will be halfway from your eyebrow to your chin. So in this picture, in this case, I'm gonna put right here. There will be from the center of the face to bottom of your chin, halfway. So in this stage, you will have this. I'm gonna have a mark right here. This same proportion. And since it's slightly looking up, looking down to you, so you will see his nostril, and also very great contrast right here. And the mouse, let's just move down this a little bit. And the mouth right here. So usually when people draw a mouse, there will be just flat line like this. But if you see, if you imagine your head is a sphere, then the mouse will be wrapping around. So I don't have to. I just find this on the side. So imagine this is a head. Then this is the mouse. When you see in the front facing angle, this will be straight, but when you slightly tilt it, this will be kind of curving around. So when you draw the mouse, you don't want to have a like straight line, because that will flatten your image. So you want to wrap around since it's looking down to you, so you want to have this. And lips. And by the way, normally there will be 3 parts, and then the last part from the bottom of your nose to your chin, and then you split this to the 1/3. The first line of the 1/3 will be the center of the mouth, and the second part of your 1/3, 2/3, there will be the bottom of your lips. So, but also that's just a general rule. Some people have a different feature on their face, so you don't want to completely follow everything. That otherwise everyone's look the same. So in this stage, I already I have the base drawing of my subject. So I'm gonna be very, very roughly to draw here. I think the mouse slightly off. I'm gonna spend some time to fix this. And now I have the eye, nose, and mouth, so I can start working on the side of the face. I think he has a really outstanding eyebrow bone, and then I have cheekbone right here. And then the chin. This part is the hair. So when I explained it in the beginning, the three part that does not including the hair. So if somebody hair sticks out very tall, you don't measure that as a third part, otherwise it'll be weird. So there will be the, imagine if they are bald, this is the top of their head and the bottom of their chin. And of course hair, you can have a different hairstyle. So now I'm gonna protrude the hair. It's a very interesting square looking hair. So I'm gonna duplicate that. So now you have a base drawing now, then you can start working on the positive and negative space. And that's a very critical for the drawing. So a drawing, if it's a good drawing or bad, you know, if you want to tell, it's, you know, you want to have a, even the photo, everything, you know, that's why when some people they choosing the reference photo, or they, if they think the picture or the photo is pretty impactful, they tend to like to the photo have more variances. So another practice that we can do, you know, before, if you're really a beginner, you can do a cheese kind of gray value. So what you do is you use your pencil, any tool that you have. So try to make your grayscale from 0 to 10, and then the 10 will be the darkest. And you want to fill in this. You can even including this on the side of your drawing if that's, you know, something you want to do. And you really draw a grayscale like from the lightest to the darkest. So let me try this on the side. So that will be about, if this is 0, this is 10. About this, look like this, it look like something like this. And then transitioning, you want to have a more variety range as possible. When you do a photo or your drawing, have the variety range from 0 to 10, that will have a more huge impact, has more detail and more kind of draw people to look into that. So now once you have the base drawing, I want you forget about, you know, what you did earlier. Just look into your reference photo very roughly, kind of squint your eye, not looking into detail, just see, you know, the light and shadow. So in this case, I'm gonna be really roughly. You want to circle the area that has a light and shadows. Just really roughly, and you kind of want to know, like, remember, you know, which area that you draw. I like to circle the shadow part out, so I'm showing this right now, so let's do it. It's kind of hard to while you're drawing and talking at the same time, but I will try my best. Oh, and also this, I want to slow down this area. So you want to pay attention on the cheekbone area, because as I explained a little bit briefly earlier, the head, human head, is as a cube. So when it's turned to the edge of the cube, you will have a turning point. So this area you will see light and dark. So you want to pay attention on this area. But since the human is not human face, human flesh is not square, unless you are kind of like 3D objects, like really low polygon cube. Otherwise you don't have a sharp black and white. Usually the transitioning from at this area, it's very softened, so kind of edge of the something turning. So you want to have this area, but depending on the lighting too. In this area I'm gonna put here, and then there's a very distinguished, very strong shadows here. And then the neck area is completely dark. You not see that much detail right here. And the hand will be right here. I'm gonna raise up his finger a little bit more. And I would say, if you have, in the drawing, if you have 80%, 70% correct and detailed, it's really great. You don't really need to pay attention on the lot of detail on the corner, because there's the center or the focal point is the area you want people to look at. Not necessarily saying that corner is not important, but if you're a beginner, you start drawing, start to learn how to draw, I will suggest focus on the area, and you can break it down even like further. So if it's a portrait, you want to focus on the head first. If you're just starting from a face, you can focus on the eye and put more attention and more time on the eye area, and you focus on a small area, and then you slowly developing the large area. Then you will have sense of the detail and contrast. You want people look at which part of the picture you want people to look at it. And then, since I have this in drawing, let me put more. I think I missed some part, but that's okay. Let's see. Since you have this base drawing down, so next step will be really simple. So basically you use your pencil, fill in all the area that you just block into. So what does that mean? I tend to like to, from like the grayscale that we did here, from 0 to 10. I like doing like some kind of like somewhere between like 5 to 3, this area. And so I can work lighter or deeper in after the stage, if I like to add in more detail or want to darken that to loosen up. So let's just fill in the dark color. And in this step, you want to be careful on the consistency, the tone that you're putting in, because you don't want to be, this part it's a little bit darker, that part is a little bit lighter. You want to be very uniform. So And also you want to be you want to pay attention on the area that you didn't circle up, because those are your highlight and you don't want to lose them. Those are important. Just fill in everything with the dark. Okay, now you have this. So if you look closely, then you will see, you all kind of have a sense of basic drawing that you already done. So I will call this as probably 1/3. You finish 1/3. It's a really great steps that if you follow my video and then you have this in front of you. So right now, when you look back to the reference photo, you will see there's a lot of contrast on the face. And in general idea, you like to have the strongest highlight and the darkest part on the face, or the focal point that you want people to look at it. And so, because we're drawing on the paper, I want to, and you don't have the pure white, your pure white is the paper white. So I want to tone down the background a little bit, just very briefly, so I can work on the detail on the other area. So I'm not very, very briefly tone down the background on this part, entire here. And I would choose from 0 to 10, I would choose from the 0 to 3, probably 2 or 1. This tone, just very, very lightly. You don't want to be too rough, that too hard, that losing the sense of the contrast. Just very briefly, very, very lightly to fill in. But you still have the sense and the outline that you know where is the edge of the shadow and dark. And now you have it. So this is the light area. You see the photo. So I forget. I'm missing one part of the shadow, which is right here. I'm gonna fill in about 3 to 4, about 3 here, because this is shadow on the arm. So now you have it. So it's a really great process. Then let's move to the next steps. So in these steps, I like to working on the face a little bit more. And because I think he is a really distinguished, very interesting looking, I'm gonna work on the focal point first. And I was slowly working towards the outside. So like I say earlier, you want to pay a lot of attention on the area you want people to look at the most. So I'm gonna start on the eye, since I say I like to work on the eye a lot. I think the eye, you can see more of a people's soul. So, and it really gives your drawing a liveness. So we can start using, the grayscale. Since we using the basic tone is about 3, so using the 5 to enhance the darkness. And you can see, you barely can see his inner eye because it's blocked by the nose. So you don't want to draw the inner eye. So this is, and you don't want to draw the outline of the nose as well. You want to leave this really light because that will flatten your image. And I like this area of the photo very much. It's like almost like a look down to you. And in the picture, it's hard to see the nostril, so I'm gonna do my best to see how actually his nostril, nose hole to this picture. And if it's difficult to see, what you can do is actually draw the shapes instead of breaking down. But I'm going to still break them down. And then this is the corner of the nose, and this is the shadow area. Maybe a little bit more. And the edge of the shadow, you want to be softened. You don't want to be too sharp. Slightly softened. And under the nose, that there's the area that your skin that connected to your mouth. So it's pretty bright. You want to keep those areas brighter. But here it's getting darker. and I'm going to work on the lips. And it's a really beautiful and thick lips. You want to really represent it, drawing it well. And at this stage, you still you do not want to go into really detail. For example, when I work on the lips, you can see above these lips, actually the lips, since the lip is protrude, so you have a receive area that's slightly darker on top of the lip line. But you do not want to work that right now, because that area can slightly be up or down. If you put the definite line right there, and then you have to erase it after and change it up. So you do not want to do that right now at this stage. You can leave that later. And here I noticed that I probably put this line a little bit too much, so I'm gonna lighten up. Just very slightly. And then here, and then I'm going to emphasize, you can see in this reference photo, because the angle of the photo and then the head, you can slightly see, you know, he's pretty I would say slim model, but you can still see his double chin just very briefly under his neck, above his neck. So we're gonna also represent that area out too, but very lightly. So don't be hard to yourself. You know, this is okay. People can have double chin, just depending on the angle of photo. And also most of photo that we see celebrity, they have a photo shoot, sorry, the Photoshop photo, they will remove those area from their face, as well as pores, wrinkle. So don't be hard on yourself. This is pretty normal thing. People have those. And one thing I want to talk about, since I'm working on this area, so something I learned and very useful is you do not want to put so much tension on the dark area. You want to work on the detail on the bright side. So in this case, I'm going to only work on the my details on in this area and the hand. That's it. And this area, I know there's a lot of details here, like, you know, the ear and where you connect the ear. Of course, you can draw them out, but the way to have the most impact to your drawing is you working on the light side detail. In the dark side, you want to be really loose and rough. So I'm gonna just be completely block them out. Fill in with a little bit darker color shade. Sorry, not color, it's a shade. So, or tone. And you want to smudge to the hair, also kind of loosen up the line, the basic drawing line that you did. And also here, I'm not sure, can you still see the line here, the square of the head? And here, because humans, the forehead is also slightly protrude, so that turning point will be slightly forward, so it will be right here. I'm gonna put my darkest line right here, so it will turn. Slightly soften them. And lighten them. The hair, I'm gonna give a little bit of detail because since you can still see the hair and the top of the head has a little bit like white line that receive the light right there. I'm gonna give it a little bit. And also the edge of the hair, you don't need to pay so much attention to counting how much single hairs right there. Just be really rough. And if you do like to work on the detail, you can work on later. But in this stage, you just very rough. And important thing is you don't want to forget or lose or flatten your drawing. So you still want to remember, the head is the square and the lighter part, darker part, which didn't receive the light. Okay, so just a minute, I'm gonna work on this area a little bit. And if you drawn and a little bit feel seriously and tired, always good to have a coffee with you. Or tea or water, whatever you're liking. And the shoulder, this is the shoulder bone, so the lightest, so you're gonna want to also run it too, like a sphere. And work on the hand a little bit. In this reference photo, although in this arm, in the picture, this area is so dark. But like I mentioned earlier, because those are outside of the drawing, it's not your focal point. You don't necessarily need to be, put this area so dark, because that, if you make this is very, very dark, maybe 9 to 10 gray, like gray value, that will draws your attention from the face to the arm. You can be secondary dark, so creating secondary contrast, and so people can see from the a lot of detail contrast and move their eye to secondary area, maybe third, so that will make your picture looks interesting. Also, this is the how people can tell if it's a good photo or good portrait, because there's a lot of detail and different area that you can look around, not boring at all. So in this stage, I already started, but I will move towards my grayscale slightly darker. I was using about 5, and I'm gonna using about 7 to 8 to creating like almost darkest tone. And then enhance the contrast. But if you do so, you want to also unify the darkness that you did. So otherwise, if you put like 8 to 9, and then this area become 5, they will make this too bright, too light. It's not dark enough. So you want to also pay attention on the tone, the value that you use. Also pay attention on the shadow part. If you do so, you want to also enhance a little bit, so it's not gonna be too bright compared with the tone that you just put it on the brow. And I want to emphasize this area more because I like the contrast between this and the under the chin and background. But also be careful on the other part of the shadow. I don't want to be too much differences, so you can tell. And I want to be this side of shadow slightly rough, loose and rough. In you know, in the reference you can see the neck. Since you turn the neck like this, there's some crease right here, but I want to just be like not draw those part out. Just make it very, very roughly loose. And I'm going to fix the cheekbone here. You can see it's slightly too high up. I'm gonna use the eraser to gently move that. And I like to enhance the pupil, the color, the tone. So I keep using color. This is black and white, there's no color. So I mean tone, the value. So I like to eye to be the darkest part of this entire drawing. So I'm gonna enhance that. On the right eye, which is his left eye, you don't see the highlights right here. So I'm gonna just do so. Darken it up. I also like to work on the nose area more. I like to draw nose. Oops, so windy. Detail part. And now you can work on the line, the fine line that you see, because it's pretty definite right now at this stage. And if there's not much thing that you want to change, then you can start working on the detail. And I would suggest that you're working on the area you would like the people to see the most. You put the most detail in there. And I really enjoy working on the turning area because the 3/4, the face, the edge, because that will creating a sense that of the realistic, and also because in the drawing world, in the artwork, you're doing artwork, you want to, you know, on the flat surface, using the value to creating an illusion for viewer. So to enhance the contrast, that really It gives the turning illusion. And this stage I'm going to use around 8 to 9 value to put the darkest part that I think should be really darkened. And this area I don't even like working on that much, and the shoulder I want to be toned down a little bit, since even though this is a highlights right here, but I don't want to be people to looking into that. That will maybe this be the third highlights, third detail that people will move their eye after they're viewing their face, the face and the hand. And the hand right here, I'm gonna work on a little bit on the joints. So I'm gonna just leave that like this, very, very rough. And this arm, this hand, I'm going to just let it merge with the shoulder. Because I don't want people to look at this area too much. I'm gonna make it recede. And the beautiful eyelashes, you don't want to forget about that. A little bit emphasize that. And then I'm gonna remove this line because this is from the beginning, the drawing, it's a baseline, and then this is kind of distracting our value, so I'm gonna erase that. And then keep working on the detail a little bit more. And this stage, I would say you can almost call it complete, but you like to, you know, working on the final detail a little bit. And if you follow me to this stage, it's pretty good. Give yourself applause. I know this is a pretty long video though. And this is another small tips that I want to share. When you use the pencil, you do want to rotate your pencil frequently. So otherwise, when you're shading it, you might make the pencil become really sharp or unevenly sharp, flattened. Sorry, if that's the word I want to say. So when you're turning and spinning the pencil regularly, it's going to avoiding that happen. The forehead slightly angled, it's a little bit different, so I'm gonna just very briefly adjust it a little bit. If I make this hair slightly moving forward more, this is much better. Okay. Okay, at this stage, I'm gonna call it as finished. I can spending another 30 minutes an hour to work on the detail, but I think it's pretty complete of the purpose that I want to show everyone's my process here, and yeah, that's it. Oh, this is the end of the video. If you follow me this video to this point, very great. You did great. This is a pretty long video. It's more than an hour. Hope you like the video. If you like the video, please give this video a like. And if you want to see my future video that I'm going to share, please subscribe my channel. If you do have any questions about drawing, anything, please leave the question down below, or leave any feedback that you think if this video is too long, it kind of bore. If you really like the thing I share, please leave a question down below or comment down below. Much appreciated, and I hope you can subscribe my channel. Bye, see you next time.